Okay, this bus is a Bluebird, and what we're going to be doing is painting the outside. It's going to be a light gray. We're going to paint the outside of this bus, and we have a little bit of body work right here on this front corner, and this system has worked well for me in the past to put foam on, cut the foam down until it's maybe a 1/4 inch under what you want, and then fiberglass it, and get a good coat of fiberglass and fiberglass mesh, and it'll be just as strong as can be. Now the bus itself is pretty stout metal. It's like 16 gauge, so it's pretty stout. We do have new windows that we've already ordered that we're going to put in. We've already made arrangements to get these put in, but you can see that we do have a couple cracks in our windows. Actually a crack in that one, and a couple of chips in this one. So we just opted to put new windows in the front. So I'll be taking it in the next week or so and having those new windows put in, which will be nice. And we kind of saved the painting for as long as possible. I have a little more body work to do up on top, and you can see that I have a really good coat of, I actually have 3 coats of enamel on the top of the bus underneath the solar panels. Now the solar panels are about, I think they're like 2,650 watts. Well, there's 8 of them and they're 330 watts a piece. So how much would that be, baby?
However that many that turns
How much ever that turns out to be. So I'm going to go up there and show you the solar panels from the top right quick. Okay, here's the solar panels from the top, and there's 8 of them, and they attach to this rail, and the rail goes through our hoops or our hat channel to the inside with some 1/2 inch bolts. So that's about every 4 foot. Now how it attaches to the channel itself is with this little device. And just as a safety precaution, we are going to put some self-tapping screws through these devices and into the panel itself, just to ensure that they don't ever wiggle back or come off of there.
We're also going to put a wind.
Can't hear you.
Also going to put a windshield thing.
Yes.
Wind diverter in front of them.
We're putting a wind diverter right here. Like you see on the front of trucks and stuff, the wind diverter will go all the way across, and it'll be flexible. It'll stand up here, and it will make the wind go up over at least this front panel and kind of direct the wind up over the panels.
And we're replacing the white zip ties with black ones, so they won't, because
yes.
they're UVA safe.
In case you don't know, the white zip ties are not UV protected, so they will rot off pretty soon. So what I'm going to do is I'll come back through and I'll put all UV protected type black zip ties. And all the zip ties do is just hold the wire up against the rail so it doesn't move around. And then right down there you can see those are our those are actually our vents for our hot water heater. And let me zoom in on those a little bit. And according to the manufacturer, all we needed was thin-walled PVC, because that unit is so efficient that you can actually vent it with thin-walled PVC. Isn't that amazing? Okay, now these vents, you can see that I just put 1/8 inch screen over both of them with a big pipe clamp, and that's just to keep out the bugs and all those kind of things. My intake is the one back here, and that one over there is my exhaust. And this is exactly how the manufacturer says to do them. So you can see one of them points back down, and one of them just kind of points out with a little 45 on it, or 22.5, whatever. Pretty interesting, actually. Things are coming up with lately. Okay, Debbie said that we need to make sure we talk about the roof raise. So I'm going to do that right now. And this is the height of the bus when we got it. And we raised it 21.5 inches. And the The roof raise, actually, I did everything by myself, except it was very windy at the time. My son-in-law helped me put the last of the panels on because I about hurt myself trying to handle them by myself. But he helped me lift these panels up, and it really wasn't difficult. They weigh about 110 to 120 pounds a piece. I don't remember, somewhere in that neighborhood. What I had done is I had cut all the rivets on these. There's 2 rows of rivets at the top. I cut the bottom row out all the way around the bus, and then I just lifted that metal a little bit so there would be room to put those metal sheets up in between. Now, if you can't see what I'm talking about, I'll try to zoom in there so you can see that there's a double row of rivets all the way along, and that double row of rivets makes it perfect, because when you bend the metal out, then you can shove those pieces up in between, and then you can drill holes and put new rivets right back in. It's pretty amazing how simply and how easily it worked. That idea, actually, the first time I saw that idea was from Transcend Existence, and you can go to his website and take a look and watch him lift his roof. I did do mine all by myself. I just used the method that he was using and just kind of fit it to my own preference, and just did it. It wasn't hard. Then I took, after I was finished raising the bus, I did cut these little water deflectors that were over each window, and the windows that I put back in were all windows from my original bus. They're tinted, and I just thought they would be nice. So, but I did put the little water deflector over each window. Now, in lifting the bus, these are the mechanisms that I used right here in lifting the bus. I welded these below and above where I was going to cut the columns, and then it has a nuts. This is a 7/8 inch all thread, and it has a nut above and below. And once you weld all these square pieces, then you can just simply start separating the nuts, and it will lift your bus automatically. Now, after I welded the pieces on, I cut all the columns all the way around. After cutting the columns, I had to cut the front. I had to cut all the way across the front, and I had to cut all the way around the back. Those were the pieces that were a little difficult to get through. I had to use a Sawzall in a couple places because my grinder just would not get through there. So this shows a few pictures of how the bus looked while we were lifting it. Maybe this will give you a little confidence in doing it yourself. Now, I went to a metal shop. Actually, the name of it was, I don't know, Herman's or something, just some guy's name. And I took a piece of cardboard, marked a pattern after I'd lifted the bus, top and bottom. And I took this to a metal shop, and he simply bent these pieces of metal for me to fit that. Once I had these bent metal pieces for the corners, the rest of it was easy, just putting together all the rivets and drilling the holes. And it was a very simple process. You can see on both sides. Now, I saved my vent from, even though I had cut everything, I saved this piece of vent and this louvered piece and put it back in. That's my breather for my engine. So the whole process was not difficult, just a little bit of work, but it was actually pretty simple. The whole process was. So you can see that these overlap, in case you're wondering. These overlap, I believe, about 10 inches, probably from this edge right here to about here's how far each one of them overlaps. These sheets come in 4x10s, 4 feet by 10 feet. This vent right up here that you see, that is for our toilet. and it will have, on the inside, will have a computer fan that runs all the time. Now I'll put 2 L's on the top of that, and that will make it waterproof. This is a generator that I got from a family who bought it during the Y2K scare. Everybody was afraid of what might happen, and so he'd put in a big propane tank, and this was connected to his house. After Y2K was over, he didn't want it any longer, and so I was able to get this generator, and I put it on a pull-out side guides. They were a little expensive, but I thought it would really be nice to have it to be able to service this thing. It connects to my inverters, so it will have an automatic start. If your batteries get too low, the inverters will kick this on and automatically charge up your batteries, so that you don't have to think about it. Your batteries are not going to get below what they're supposed to be, and I have those I think they're called AGMs, those
batteries,
non-serviceable batteries. What are they?
I don't know.
Okay,
sounds right.
So I think this will service us well. Just have a little bit of tweaking to get everything done on that. My air conditioner could not work better. It is wonderful. It's rated to handle about 500 feet, and this is the outside unit. And if you notice, it's so quiet, and you can't tell the difference when the compressor is running and when it's not. And most air conditioners, when they kick on, they're so loud. This has what's called a soft start, so it never pulls a huge amount of electricity. It just starts very slowly when the compressor kicks on. As a result, you never hear it. I have some excess line inside here on my copper lines. Those will just coil up and sit behind, and that way they can handle the vibration. I don't have any sharp turns. Then right behind that is the battery. I have to be able to turn this out so I can access the battery to this. This generator will recharge the battery, but I do need to occasionally service that battery. So I do have to be able to turn this out. As a result, I will bolt it down, but it will. I can just take 2 bolts out and or 3 bolts out and be able to turn it and access the battery.
So it'll be setting in there differently than it is
it'll
now.
be setting flat, facing out. This will have a door over it, and that door will have louvers that I'm going to put at a 45 degree. I'm going to put louvers, and there'll also be ventilation for this, because this is a part of your cooling process for this generator. This generator is a 15 kilowatt, which means I could run this house and several other RVs if we need to at the same time. It's got plenty of juice for that, and it runs on propane. So it's it will be hooked up on to the other side. There'll be a line that runs over here. It'll be hooked up to the other side to my propane bottles.
Okay.
Ready? Okay. Now this was the safety exit door, whatever. Haven't quite finished it yet, but this is my kitchen sink. Inside my kitchen sink, this area right here, and then this is all my electrical. On this side we have the DC, and it has a 15 amp breaker for the ground, and then a 15 amp breaker for the positive. That's how it's set up all the way down. Ground positive, ground positive. Then these are our inverters, and they are wonderful. Each one of them are 3,000 watts. Now that handles more than what my solar panels put out. Now they're 3,000 watt, but if one of them goes bad, one of them is the master and one of them is the slave. And it's simply whichever one you turn on first. The first one you turn on will be the master. But if one of them ever burns out, the other one will automatically just take over, and we'll never miss a beat. And we can order another unit to replace this, but it will automatically just, the second unit will just take over and operate. Then right here, if you look right over here, this is our AC panel. So it operates the whole bus. Everything in the bus is on alternating current, or AC. So this is our AC panel. I do have dedicated breakers for several things, like my air conditioner. I have a dedicated breaker for
Refrigerator.
my refrigerator. Dedicated breaker for something else. Anyway, we've kind of got that all straight, and then I have a vent hole on the inside of the house right here. This vent hole allows air, and I'm going to mount a computer fan on this, but that allows air from the inside, which is cool during the summer, and it will circulate, and it will be able to go out right up here behind. I have a wall right behind there, and it will be able to go out and exit around the doors, and there'll be a vent in the bottom underneath the computer that's setting right on the other side.
And a big thank you to Steve Robertson for helping us set up all this electrical stuff.
Huge. This guy is my buddy, but let me tell you what, I was lost without him, but he came in here and he just helped me, and I am so pleased with the results.
Yeah.
We just could not be more pleased.
We've been running the bus, not only the bus, but also all of your power tools, like your saws and everything, off the solar for probably about 3 months now.
Right. Ever since we got this completed, we've been running all the equipment to work on the bus. We have been running from our bus.
Yeah.
So that is pretty cool.
It's pretty cool. And the air conditioner running all the time.
And the air conditioner runs constantly. You're absolutely right.
So it's fabulous. No electricity hooked up to it whatsoever.
None whatsoever. Okay, now let's go down below.
Okay.
Okay,
I'll back up.
I'm going to close this one. Oh, by the way, these two orange wires that are just sticking in here.
I wondered.
One is from Shore Power.
Ah.
And one is from the generator.
Ah.
I just haven't put them in the bottom yet.
Where they go, okay.
Right, but once I have the generator properly hooked up and the Shore Power is already hooked up, I just have to run the wire. As soon as that's done, then I will go ahead and hook these up. And it's pretty cool that those units are so smart that they just read the Shore Power when you plug it in, and automatically it'll quit using your batteries and you operate on Shore Power.
Okay.
On the generator, if you kick the generator on, second you kick the generator on, then these read that, they quit using the batteries and they start using the power from the generator. Also, they'll take that same power and recharge your batteries.
Yep.
Pretty cool deal. Okay, so let's look at storage. This is where my batteries are. So right now we use it to stick stuff in there to get it out of the rain.
Yeah.
Because we get rain here every day.
Well, this year.
This year, yeah. So let me see that camera for a second. Right here are the batteries. They're AGMs and they are absolutely wonderful. You can see there's 12 of them in there. And I built this so that it's the bottom is off the floor. There's no weight whatsoever on the storage area. All the weight is transferred right up here to the frame. So since they weigh 120 pounds a piece and there's 12 of them, that's quite a bit of weight. And so I didn't want that inside my storage area. Instead, we transferred all that weight right to the frame. Then we have, this is our breaker box for the entire system, the one that's horizontal there. And then this breaker box right here is for my generator. And so you can see that I haven't tied that line in yet. And then I have a line back in the back that I just need to run up here, and it will tie into our main breaker also. So that kind of gives an idea. The line in the back that I was talking about is from my Shore Power. So let's take a look. This is the outside piece for Shore Power, and it's for 30 amp, and I don't have 220 in this bus, only from the generator. So if I want to do any welding or anything like that, then I have to turn on the generator. It has 220, and I'll have a 220 plug right inside that storage area. Then we used for our water source, this is where we would hook up line for water when we're hooked up to Shore Power or whatever. We don't really need power. We produce more power than we need, but we probably will use it if we're paying for it. Then this is just to stick a hose in for gravity flow to fill up our tanks for boondocking and things like that. But this other one is a pressure, It's a pressure line, and this we would hook a hose up to, and it would supply pressure. Once we hook a hose up to this, our pump will be turned off. We won't even operate our pump at that
Where
point.
do you drain the gray water?
The gray water will drain right here. We'll have a faucet right there, and we will be able to drain the gray water out of that.
Okay.
We have new tires on. I've got them covered right now, but we have new tires. We wanted to start this thing with all safety possible. Well, Debbie's going to be making our curtains. So right now, she has a dilemma. The decision is the hard part, right, baby?
That is the hard part. I'm not kidding.
So she's trying to decide what material she likes the best for her kitchen, but she's so good at it.
It doesn't feel like it right now.
Well, that's about all we can think of to show you right now. So hope this review will help a little bit, and we're excited about
We're getting
started.
close.
Getting on that bus and meeting some of you wonderful folks that post to us all the time and make comments, and we just appreciate you guys watching our videos. It's fun for us.
Yep.
We just enjoy it a lot. So for now, bye-bye.
Bye-bye.